World models, they're really cool. I have no idea what they are, but they are really cool. My understanding of a world model essentially is a neural network that has an internal representation of the world. So it basically understands the space, the spatial dynamics of a scene. Where a scene could be me being in this room right now, and I'm like the distance between my hand and the camera understands that, like, if this pencil was dropped from my hand, it understands the physics and how the paper is affected by me crumpling, stuff like that. That's how I understand the world model to be. Just having an understanding of the physics that um go within the scene, and there's a lot of cool work being done. You have Nvidia, Sim doing some cool work, Google DeepMind. Faith Lee really loves this. If I remember, I was listening to a podcast the other day. It was actually a couple months ago. I think it was not a year now, but like 5, 6, 7 months ago. And I remember I thought it was just like another buzzword, but it's really, really interesting the more I look into it. So I'm really grateful to have listened to that podcast episode. But something that's really been bugging me in my mind lately is the idea of like world models and what they actually look like for the average person in 10 to 15 years. Because with large language models, you can see the obvious use cases for like every person, every single field. I think that's why I think it's so cool with large language models. Because if you're in art, if you're in civil engineering, if you're in architecture, if you're in media design, if you're in entertainment, there's a lot of use cases all around the board. But with world models, the most obvious use cases are stuff like robotics, um, or they pause there, robotics, video generation, video understanding, video analysis. Those are like the same thing. Um, and then VR, AR, stuff like that. That's like the best use cases I can think for world models. So now I'm really interested in like what those, because just for some context, in my understanding, large language models when they were first deployed weren't like, it wasn't theorized or even foreseen that would have like this massive, would have so many use cases in different areas of life. And I think that's what I'm expecting with world models as well. Because the way I see technology is that obviously you have the people who design the technology, have theorized it, build it, the application, all that. But then what really makes it interesting when it actually comes to life and starts to grow is when a lot of people, consumers, um, get access to that technology and then start applying it to different use cases. It's like it's basically it's taking clay from the hands of 10 people and then giving it to like a billion people. That clay is gonna be formed into many different things. Like you increase your surface area for impact and development. I think that's maybe the best way to describe it. So that's why I'm really interested. What happened? That's why I theorize what happened with world models. I'm trying to figure out what that's gonna look like exactly. Um, I think it's an interesting question because I know like the stuff I'm doing, it's not a world model per se. It's the same tech. It's technically adjacent with Crowdflow and basically creating basically a digital twin to identify emergent behavior in agents given certain physical constraints. But then that's not world model and stuff. But even saying that, I can think of the use cases of it. Like for example, I'm someone who really likes to plan events, and sometimes events have a lot of crowd flow, so I want to be able to simulate it and see what's the best layout of things that to best design the crowd flow I want. Like for example, with a career fair, I'm not gonna put like the biggest tech companies at the front of the career fair at the door because they're gonna build a big line, right? And that's gonna make it hard to get to the other companies. So you'd put someone like Google, Nvidia, them more so in the back, in the corner, stuff like that. Usually actually hide there, which is really funny in itself. But stuff like that, that's how I can think of like world models. Being impactful in my life. But I wonder, like, someone else, like in the architecture is a really bad example for this. And art is also kind of bad because with art you can think of video generation. But with a teacher I think is interesting. With a teacher, I wonder where the use cases will come from. Um, I really don't know. I think maybe like I can imagine with a physics teacher, you could probably like have like better simulations and just do it right off the bat. Like let's say I want to show, I want to come up with some crazy example. I want to have like a visualization for it. Then maybe that's where it could be really helpful for educators. 'Cause I think with me, even when I was working on a reinforcement learning workshop, the visualizations was just like the hardest part. It took the most time. Um, so maybe that could be the use case. It could also be obviously the VR and AR applications. I just don't see schools really adopting that technology anytime soon. It's clunky. It causes headaches and stuff like that. But maybe 25 years from now, maybe that's the case. And then maybe like the underlying applying technology for world models helps with that. So you can build a better layout and kids can better interact with the scene around them because you have a better understanding of how it works. Um, but I do think it's an interesting research direction. I won't continue pursuing it. I think one of the funniest things about me right now is like whenever someone asks me what research I'm interested in, it changes like all the time. And the way I really identify what research I'm interested in is where I see like the where it intersects. Because with each research person, every time they ask me that, I always have to like go find their research, understand it, and like try and connect it so it doesn't seem like too far off, right? But I do think this is something I'm genuinely interested in. I do think it's fun. I want to continue looking into it. I think there's a lot of stuff going on out there. I think with large language models, even though I don't think they've peaked, I think right now we're let me choose my words carefully here. I think right now with large language models, we're having a better understanding for what they can do, and like we have the places we want to take them to, but we also have seen where we want to take them to. And I want to see with large language models. I think they're a really interesting area. I don't think we've reached the peak. I don't think we're going to reach it in the next 10 to 15 years. I do think though, I really want to try like a completely like I want to try going to something underdeveloped. Like I said, I did a PhD right now. I wouldn't want to go into something like multi agents. I don't know actually. If I did a PhD, maybe multi agent stuff or something like that could be really interesting. But the way I see it is, I wouldn't want to go into something that I think is crowded right now. I would want to go into something I think might be promising. I could have more foundational research maybe, but I actually don't know how it works, so I could be wrong about that. Um, but we'll see. I'm gonna continue looking into it and see what I find and see what I can build. I think I'm really happy right now because I don't have to go start a whole new project. I can keep on working on Crowdflow and get the underlying knowledge, and then see what my next project based off Crowdflow is gonna be. But besides, I have nothing else to say. So have a great day.